She said she was tired of pretending to like my family and refused to come to Christmas. I brought my new girlfriend instead, and when the family photos went online, my ex's calls wouldn't stop. I'm 33M, and until recently, I was engaged to a woman named Hannah, 31F. We'd been together for about 4 years, engaged for the last 8 months. Now, one thing about me, my family is close. Not call each other every day close, but we actually like spending time together. Sunday dinners at my parents', game nights with my siblings, yearly Christmas at the family cabin. We're loud, a little messy, but genuinely warm. Growing up, it was always the more, the merrier. Hannah came from a different background. Her parents divorced when she was young, and holidays for her usually meant awkward dinners where everyone kept conversations short to avoid fights. She once told me she hated Christmas because it felt fake. At the time, I thought, well, maybe being with my family will change that for her. At first, she seemed fine. She'd laugh at my dad's cheesy jokes, help my mom in the kitchen, even join board games with my siblings. But slowly, little cracks started showing. Like the year my mom gave her a Christmas sweater, she smiled, but later whispered to me, "Do they really expect me to wear this? It's hideous." Or when my sister asked her to be in charge of one dessert. "What is this, a test? Like I'm auditioning to join your family." I chalked it up to nerves, to her not being used to it. I kept telling myself she just needed more time. But this past fall, as December rolled around and plans for Christmas at the cabin were forming, she dropped the line that split us. We were sitting on the couch, half watching Netflix, when she sighed and said, "I'm tired of pretending I like your family. Don't invite me to Christmas this year." At first, I thought she was joking, but she doubled down. "Seriously, I can't do it again. The forced cheer, the corny traditions. It's exhausting. If you love me, don't put me through that." I sat there in silence, because I knew what she was really asking. Choose her or choose them. Finally, I just nodded. Calm. Completely understand. Her face relaxed, like she'd won some invisible tug of war. She even kissed my cheek and said, "Thank you. You'll see, it's better this way." But inside me, something shifted. Because my family isn't a burden. They're joy. They're part of me. And asking me to cut them out, even for one holiday, wasn't compromise. It was erasure. So when Christmas came around, I didn't bring Hannah. I brought someone else that I didn't set out to bring, a new girlfriend, as some sort of stunt or revenge. Honestly, I wasn't even planning to start dating again until the new year. But life has a way of making decisions for you. 2 months before Christmas, I'd met Clara, 29F, at a local running club. She was new in town, a software engineer with a dry sense of humor and the kind of curiosity that made conversations flow effortlessly. We started grabbing coffee after runs, then dinners, then, quietly, we began seeing each other more seriously. I hadn't introduced her to my family yet, not because I was hiding her, but because I didn't want to bring someone into the chaos until I was sure. By early December, though, it felt natural, easy, and when she shyly asked what I was doing for Christmas, I surprised myself by saying, "Actually, would you like to come with me to my family's cabin?" She hesitated. "That's kind of a big step, isn't it?" And it was. But something in my gut told me it would feel right. The cabin. Our family Christmas cabin isn't luxurious, just a 2-story log house by a frozen lake, strung with decades-old lights that blink unevenly. But the moment you walk in, it smells like pine, cinnamon, and my mom's gingerbread cookies. There's always a fire crackling, always someone shouting over someone else, and always at least one dog weaving between legs begging for scraps. When I pulled up with Clara in the passenger seat, my siblings came running out to greet us. My sister gasped, "You brought someone." My mom hugged Clara like she'd known her for years. Dad cracked a terrible joke about finally upgrading from my bachelor years. Even the dog, a goofy golden retriever, leaned against her leg like she belonged. And Clara? She didn't freeze. She didn't plaster on a fake smile. She leaned in. She laughed at Dad's joke, knelt to pet the dog, complimented my mom's cookies. Later that night, she jumped into a board game she'd never played before, learning rules on the fly, high-fiving my brother when they won a round. It wasn't about her being perfect. It was about her being present. For the first time in years, I didn't feel the tension of trying to balance two worlds. I didn't feel like I was apologizing for my family's quirks or begging someone to endure them. I just enjoyed. The photos. My sister, of course, documented everything. She's the unofficial family photographer. always snapping candid shots. Clara and me carrying firewood. Mom teaching her how to make our secret hot cocoa. All of us bundled up for a group photo in the snow. She posted an album on Facebook and Instagram the day after Christmas. Caption: Best family Christmas yet. Red heart. I didn't think much of it. I barely use social media, and most of my feed is coworkers posting about marathons or new babies. But apparently, Hannah saw the calls. The first missed call came the evening the album went up. Then another. Then three in a row. I ignored them. Sat on the couch, fireplace glowing, Clara's head resting on my shoulder as we watched some corny holiday movie. My phone buzzed on the coffee table like a warning alarm. Finally, a text. So you replaced me already? That's who you brought instead of me? After everything we had? Then another. You're pathetic. I told you I didn't want Christmas, not that I didn't want you. How could you do this? I read them in silence. Clara noticed my stiff posture and asked softly, Everything okay? I just nodded, turned the phone face down. Because what was I supposed to say? My ex-fiancé, who didn't want to come, is furious that you came instead. By midnight, I had 12 missed calls, 5 voicemails, and a string of messages alternating between anger and begging. One of them said, I was just being honest with you. You knew how hard it was for me to be around them. You didn't even fight for me. Another, delete those photos. I don't want people seeing me replaced. The realization. And that's when it hit me. For years, I thought Hannah's distance from my family was just discomfort, something she'd eventually warm up to. But looking at those messages, I realized it wasn't about discomfort. It was about control. About making sure my joy, my family, my traditions didn't exist unless she approved. She didn't want compromise. She wanted dominance. And I finally saw it clearly because Clara, without even trying, showed me the difference. The ease, the acceptance, the lack of resentment. That Christmas was the first time in a long while I didn't feel the weight of trying to hold everything together. I felt whole. But of course, it didn't end with those calls. Update 1. I didn't block Hannah right away. Part of me thought, what's the point? We were done. She made her choice. I made mine. But I underestimated how much noise a person can make when they don't accept the ending point. 2 days after Christmas, a coworker sent me a screenshot. It was Hannah's Facebook post. Imagine giving 4 years of your life to someone, supporting them through everything, only for them to blindside you with another woman. Replaced before the ring even got cold. Some people are colder than ice. The comments rolled in fast. Her friends called me trash, heartless, a narcissist. Some mutual acquaintances messaged me privately. What's going on? Did you really cheat? Cheat. That word burned. Because whatever else I'd been, I was faithful. Even in the final months when things were unraveling, I hadn't looked elsewhere. Clara came into my life after Hannah, and I had effectively ended. But social media doesn't care about nuance that Hannah's missed calls didn't stop after Christmas. They multiplied. Morning, afternoon, past midnight. My voicemail filled up. Some were angry. You're disgusting. Everyone sees it. You'll regret this. Some were pleading. Please, can we just talk? I was overwhelmed. I didn't mean it. Some were manipulative. You ruined my holidays. Do you know how cruel that was? My mom cried when she saw those photos. She thought you were family. It was whiplash. Rage, then tears, then guilt tripping. Clara isn't oblivious. She noticed the tension, the way my phone buzzed constantly. One night, she asked directly, Do you still love her? It hit me like a slap. Not because I did, but because I realized that's how it must look. The ex-fiancé calling non-stop, the history we shared, and me sitting there in silence trying not to drag Clara into it. I told her the truth. About Hannah's ultimatum, about the texts, about why I didn't bring her to Christmas. Clara listened, nodded slowly, and said, I'm not mad you had a past. I just don't want to be in a triangle. Fair. Completely fair. The turning point was when Hannah sent an email, not a text, not a call, but an actual email, with the subject line, We need to talk about financial obligations. She claimed she had invested years into our relationship, sacrificed career opportunities for me, and that I owed her something for moving on so quickly. She used phrases like unjust enrichment and good faith reliance. It wasn't just emotional anymore. It was legal, or at least she was pretending it was. I forwarded the email to a lawyer the next day. We scheduled a consultation. He told me bluntly, she doesn't have a case, but she could make noise, document everything, every call, Every message, every email. If she escalates, we'll be ready. So I started saving. Screenshots, voicemails, email threads, a paper trail of chaos. New Year's Eve, my family threw our usual party. Clara came with me. Midnight rolled around. We kissed. Fireworks lit up the sky. And my phone buzzed. Again. This time it was a text from Hannah. I see you kissing her in those pictures. I hope you know you're a fraud. You'll never be happy. She'll leave you, just like I should have years ago. I didn't reply. I finally hit block. And for the first time in weeks, the buzzing stopped. Of course, blocking someone doesn't erase them. It just pushes the storm out of sight. And with Hannah, I had a sinking feeling it wasn't over. Final update. After New Year's, things finally went quiet. For a couple of weeks, I let myself believe it was over. My phone stopped buzzing, Clara relaxed again, and I finally slept through the night without waking up to endless notifications. But mid-January, Hannah found a new way back into my life. Not directly, but through people around me. First, it was my sister. She called and said, "Hey," Hannah messaged me. Said she still loves you, and that you two could fix things if you just give her a chance. My sister didn't buy it. I could hear the doubt in her voice, but she wanted me to know. Then, a coworker pulled me aside at the office. "Dude, your ex reached out to me on LinkedIn. Said you two were basically family and that I should remind you of what a good man you are." That's when it clicked. Hannah wasn't trying to talk to me anymore. She was trying to circle around me, squeeze in through sympathy and shared connections. I went back to the lawyer I'd already consulted and showed him everything. Together, we drafted a formal cease and desist letter. Dry, unemotional, legally sharp. It spelled out that any further contact with me or my family would be considered harassment. I sent it by certified mail, not out of anger, but necessity. Clara saw all of this unfold. She noticed how my phone no longer rang at 2 a.m., but how a new type of tension hung in the air. One night she asked quietly, "Are you sure she's really gone?" And I had to admit, I wasn't sure. People like Hannah don't exit gracefully. They linger. They test boundaries. They try doors you thought were locked. The last attempt came in early February. Hannah emailed my mom. Not me, my mom. She begged her to pass along her number, claimed everything was a mistake, that she'd been confused but was now ready to fight for our love. My mom forwarded me the email and just said, tiredly, "Son, you need to decide for yourself. But from where I stand, this isn't healthy." I told her my decision had already been made. We added that email to the file, and since then, silence. Real silence. Here's the thing people don't tell you. When it finally ends, it doesn't feel like victory. It feels like standing in the wreckage, realizing how much energy you lost keeping records, consulting lawyers, blocking calls. Everyone loves to say the truth sets you free, but the truth also weighs you down. I don't hate Hannah. In some twisted way, I think she truly believed she was owed something, love, attention, even money, just for being part of my life for 4 years. She's not a monster. She's just someone who chose manipulation over honesty, ego over closure. Life is quieter now. Clara and I are moving forward slowly, carefully. I'd be lying if I said I trust as easily as before. I catch myself double-checking words, analyzing gestures. That's what betrayal does. Trust doesn't shatter in one blow. It dies in layers. I don't know what Hannah is doing today. Maybe she's telling her side somewhere else, casting me as the villain. Maybe she's already moved on. Maybe she's rewriting history in her head. Either way, it's not my burden anymore. I've learned how to document, how to get legal advice, how to cut contact without flinching. But I've also learned how exhausting it is to defend your peace. Sometimes, when I look back at the Christmas photos, Clara beside me, my family smiling, I remember how, in another part of town, Hannah was calling, texting, raging into the void. Two worlds, forever split. And if I had to choose again, I'd do the same. Because sometimes I understand doesn't mean surrender. It means I understand and I choose myself.